Hi, I'm Ferg, Daphne's husband and tech geek. I'm pleased to let you know that Daphne's blanket books, her blanket patterns, including this one, and over 50 knitting stitch patterns are now available for free download. There are full details on how to get them at the end of this video. So it's now on with the tutorial. Welcome to this tutorial for Double Delight Baby Blanket. It features double-sided knitting using two separate yarn colours.
This blanket pattern is called Double Delight because you get double pleasure from this one. There's no right and wrong side. Both sides are right sides. This version of Double Delight is called Bluey, and it has been keeping children warm for 8 years since I knitted it. On this side, the pale blue is the colour in between the boxes, and the boxes have the variegated colour. On this side, the in-between bits are the variegated bits, and the boxes this time are the pale blue colour. Both sides are equally interesting. The blanket is made up of panels, and each panel is joined with the 3-needle join-up method. You knit them together. You can see the join here in that ridge in the pale blue. Here's the ridge on the other side. Once again, I did it in pale blue. So we can join the two layers separately. We have to keep the two layers separate as we knit. For double knitting, you need double pointed needles. I've put these stoppers on the end of the needles so the stitches don't slip off. To make things easy, I've used different colours for the two colours. In the red, that's for the dark colour, and in the blue, that will be when I'm knitting the pale green colour. I have already cast on my 66 stitches in the dark colour. That's shown in red on the pattern. The next row is a foundation row, a row that we do before we start the pattern here with row 1. And the foundation row will be done in the pale green. This is the foundation row. Purl, yarn back, slip a stitch, purl, yarn back, slip a stitch, purl, yarn back. Now all slip stitches are done purl-wise, as if you were going to purl the stitch. Purl, yarn back, slip a stitch, right to the end of the row. That is the end of the foundation row. As you can see, the colours are now alternating. After the foundation row, we have to slip the stitches to the other end of the needle. So you'll need to take your stopper, put it on this end, take this one off, and put it on this end. Row 1 begins with slip 1. Now, because we're keeping the two layers separate, we need to bring the working colour in there so it hasn't gone around the end. Now, knit 1, yarn forward, slip. We'll be knitting all the dark stitches and slipping all the light coloured stitches all the way along, remembering to always slip in purl-wise. So knit 1, yarn forward, slip, knit 1, yarn forward, slip, knit 1, yarn forward, slip, all the way to the end of the row. This is row 2. We're going to be working it in the light colour. The first one is slip, and because we want to keep the two layers separate, the yarn goes there so that this stitch here is hanging loose. So row 2, slip 1, knit 1, yarn forward, slip, knit, yarn forward, slip, knit, yarn forward, slip. So we're knitting all the pale ones and slipping the dark ones right to the end of the row. Rows 1 and 2 were knit rows. Now we're going to slip the work to the other end of the needle, and rows 3 and 4 are both purl rows. Row 3 is purl 1, yarn back, slip 1. Purl 1, yarn back, slip 1. Purl 1, yarn back, slip 1. Purl 1. Now by putting the yarn back, it keeps carrying the yarn between the 2 layers of knitting. So purl 1, yarn back, so it stays between the 2 layers all the way along. That's the end of row 3. Row 4 will be done in the light colour, and it'll be a purl row. Purl 1, slip 1, purl 1, slip 1, just like we have been doing. And there's no worry about the 2 layers here. They keep open on these ones. It's when you're doing the knit rows you have to be very careful to keep the 2 layers not joined. Here's the purl row again. Purl 1, yarn back, slip 1, purl 1, yarn back, slip 1, purl 1, yarn back, slip 1. That's the end of row 4, the end of 2 purl rows. It's time to slip the stitches to the other end of the needle. When I'm doing this, I always have a check just to make sure everything's a-okay. Now I've marked off row 1, 2, 3 and 4. We now have to work rows 1 to 4 once more. There, we've finished the bottom border. Now it's time to mark out our stitches ready for making the squares. The markers go after 6 stitches, 14 stitches, 6, 14, 6, 14, 6. I've written the pattern for each row in 2 parts. For row 9, the first 6 stitches are yarn forward, slip 1, knit 1, yarn forward, slip 1, knit 1, slip. Then you come to the 14 stitch bit, which has a purl 1, yarn back, slip 1, purl. So the 6 stitches are knit ones there, and on the 14 stitches you're purling the stitches that you're working. On row 10 you have, once again, is doing a knit on the 6 stitches and purling on the 14 stitches. Slip the work to the other end of the needle, and on row 11 there you purl on the 6 stitches and knit on the 14. Purl on the 6, knit on the 14. You work rows 9 to 12 5 times. That's 10 complete rows altogether. That brings you up to the end of the first block, the first square. Then you'll start again, work rows 1 to 12. So row 1 is here, and you work that 14 times altogether to make a cot blanket. Here is row 9. Over the 6 stitches, the panels, the columns that go in between the squares, they remain the same as knitting down here. They won't change, but it's in between those panels, the 14 stitches, where we're changing colours to make the squares. So for the 6 stitches, slip, knit, slip, knit, yarn forward, slip, knit. Now this is where we change for the squares. And this time it's purl, slip, purl, yarn back, slip, purl, slip, purl, yarn back, slip, right to the end of the 14 stitches. Then we change back to the 6 stitches, slip, knit, slip, knit. Row 10, first one, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit. Now we change for the square. And this is going to be purl 1. This is where we change colour. Purl, slip, purl, slip, purl, all 14, slip, purl, slip. Now we're going to go back to our original pattern, and it's another slip, 2 slips in a row. Slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit. So there we have the pattern. The 14 where we change colour and the 6 that stay the same. Row 11. The 6 stitches, purl, slip, purl, slip, purl, slip. Now the 14 stitches, slip. Now in this row we're back to knitting the same colour each time, so I'm only knitting the dark coloured ones and slipping the light coloured ones, and so on. That's one complete pattern finished. So now we go back to row 1 and do it all again. With this pattern I like to use tally marks to show where I'm up to. I had to do that part 5 times to make one set of squares, so you can see I've marked off the 5 times. Doing the pattern 5 times gives you 10 complete rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see the same on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Repeat the pattern to make each panel as long as you want it. For a cot blanket, it's 14 times the pattern. Now we're getting ready to cast off, and we've abandoned colour B, so we've finished with it, and we're going to make it all in colour A. So you slide your work to the other end of the needle and then work 1 row of purl, knit, purl, knit. So all the stitches are the same colour. To cast off, knit 2, then cast 2 off, knit another 2 and cast off 2 more stitches, knit 2, cast off 2, and keep going until the item is finished. To join the panels using the 3 needle join up method, you need 2 long circular needles and a crochet hook. I'm going to join this side first with colour B. Pick up stitches using a crochet hook. I'm picking up 1 stitch for every row of knitting. slip the stitches onto your circular needle. Keep going till you've finished the whole row. When picking up stitches, be aware of which is the cast on edge and which is the cast off edge, and keep these edges aligned. I picked up the stitches on this one in this direction and in this direction for this one. To join up, just knit 2 stitches together, one from each of the circular needles, then cast off in the normal manner. Knit 2 together, cast off. For this sample, I used both colours for the joins. The light colour on that side and the dark colour on this side. However, for Bluey, I use the same colour on both sides. Before joining the outside edges, work 1 row of double crochet to give a nice firm edge. It'll make joining it up so much easier and neater. After crocheting 1 row of double crochet on each of the 2 layers, join the layers together with another row of double crochet. Just into the tops of those previous crochets. Nice and neat. I finished this rug, Bluey, off with a few rows of double crochet in the lighter colour and then 2 rows of treble clusters crocheted. Just 1 panel of this pattern makes a beautiful scarf. You would need to knit it in fairly fine wool, say 4 ply, and on 3mm needles, but it would make a wonderful, wonderful scarf.
Double Delight is a delectable double-sided knitting baby blanket. Enjoy knitting this lovely item. Daphne's pattern books, blanket patterns and patterns for more than 50 knitting stitches are available as free downloads. To get a free download, send an email to knitwithdaphne@gmail.com and include the subject Free Download. There is no need for any content in the email, and then send the email. You will receive an automatic response to your email that includes the link to access Google Cloud. Here you will be able to download the PDF pattern file.